Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Sunnyslope Homestead. Hey, well, today's the day. It's chicken day. So our baby chicks just came into the store that we buy them from. So we're gonna go pick them up today. And in this video, I'm gonna show you what I do with my new chicks, how I take care of them, and what kind of brooder I use. So stay tuned, come with me, and let's go get these chicks. See ya.
I'd like you guys to like and subscribe and hit the bell button.
Why should they?
Because our chickens are adorable and so fluffy.
So we're picking up this year's chickens. Got 13, bunch of varieties too. So stick around, see what we get.
So one on the far right, two on the far right. Alright, thank you. Yep, no problem.
So we went through a little bit of confusion. I ordered a bunch of weird chickens, so it took a little bit to get them all counted out, even though it was just 13, but they were kind of oddballs and, you know, they're all over the place. So yeah, we got the chickens and the chicks, and we're just picking up a little bit of supplies to get them started, and a little bit of feed, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We're gonna head home and set up the brooder, so I'll see you guys when I get there. I had to come to the barn to get a few things, which is my brooder. You guys might recognize something like this. It's super simple when you're starting out new with chicks, and I like using it. It's super simple to set up, super simple to take down. So I'm gonna go back upstairs. We're gonna go back up to the garage. We're gonna get this set up, and I'm gonna show you what I do to take care of baby chicks and what kind of brooder I use and the whole shebang. So stick with me. We're gonna head back up, and we're gonna show you what we do. So we're getting ready to set up the brooder in the garage here, and it's real simple what I do. You know, first I get a nice big sheet of cardboard to lay on the ground. So I don't ever put my chickens straight on the ground. You know, it sucks a lot of heat out of them, even with the wood chips. I don't want that smell in the concrete and stuff. So we use cardboard, 100% organic farm-raised cardboard, straight out of the field. So that's what we're using today. This is all food grade starches and everything. Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't know what's in this thing, but I'm not growing my food in it, so we're good to go. We're just putting chicken on it and catching sawdust. So the brooder that I use is super simple. You can find this at a lot of online, Amazon, big box stores, stuff like that. But what I like about it is it works really well when you have small chicks. Now, I've had trouble when the chicks get a little bit bigger, they'll hop out of this, and I'll show you here in a second. But what I built is I put a little cage over the top of it to keep the chicks in, but I got something on order that will fix that whole problem, and I will have to get away from this. But I wanted to show you this works really well, and you can see how compact it is. I'm sure you guys have seen these before. This is where you hang the light, but I'm sure you see these. But when you're done, you just fold it up and you put it away. And you know, I thought about getting one of those troughs or a tank of some sort. But the thing I don't like about those is when you're done using them, you got this tank laying around. Now, whether or not you can use it for your livestock, whatever, that's a different story. Myself, I can't. I just have a big tank sitting upside down somewhere, and it'll be in the way. So I choose not to go that route. Not until I get some other type of livestock or something that would utilize that in the off season when I'm not growing chicks. So let's get this set up, and we'll show you what I'm all talking about here. So as you can see, that took no time at all to set up. This thing is super simple to set up. I know it's kind of cheesy and cheap, and it's kind of like not the real cool route to go. It's kind of like, oh, that's store-bought, but you know what? It really works for me, really simply too. So I'm gonna get the wood chips. We're gonna get the heat lamps. I'm gonna show you what I do and how we set our temperatures and everything, and I'll be right back. So I wanted to show you something with pine shavings. So this is what it looks like of what you want to get. It's called a medium grade pine shaving. So the reason for this, daughter's at the door. Hey, sweetie. So the reason for this is you don't want to get small pine shavings like sawdust, because what will happen is the chicks will eat it. So you want to stay with a pine shaving, medium shave, large shave like this. I like the medium because they're small, gives a little bit of warmth. The large shave chips, they're like wood chips. They're really big. So I go with the medium shaving. Hey guys, also as for like monitoring temperatures and doing things like that, you don't need anything too fancy. I go really fancy. I like alarms, such and such, but I started out with a little tiny thermometer. You know, go out in the garage, check on it once in a while. But what I did is I went and bought one of those cheap outdoor thermometers. Comes with the sensor. I put this in the brooder, and then I just set this inside the house, and I set my temperature alarm. So if a light bulb goes out or, you know, anything happens, it gets too hot, it warns me right off the bat. So pretty cheap investment. It's kind of good to have. It's convenience is what it is. So what I started out with when monitoring temperature is just a little tiny thermometer. Now you can pick these up at any hardware store. It just has a little cup. You just dangle down however you want. You know, the most important thing is keeping the chicks at the right temp. So there's a lot of things out there. All the information's out there for the temperatures. But just to go over it real quick, you want to stay between 95 and 100 degrees in the first week or two when the chickens are in the brooder. And then every additional week, 5 degrees down until they're about a month old. So that's just the rule of thumb. Myself, I kind of find out when the first time I did chickens, I was really, really like on top of the temperature, and I was constantly moving the light up and down, and I really drove myself crazy with it. So I just want to tell you guys, just tell what your chickens are doing. Watch what they're doing. If they're huddling up underneath the lamp and they're all in a big ball, then it's probably a good tell sign that it's probably too cold and you need to lower that lamp down a little bit. Now, if they're all on the outside of the brooder and they look like they can't get far enough away from that light, that's a really good indication that you got it too hot. So what you're looking for is you're looking for obviously your chicks to be milling about, but you want them to create like a perfect circle right on the outside of that. So if you can imagine the sun, the circle, and the heat lamp is the circle, like what it puts down, you want them right on the outside of that. You don't want them really directly underneath of it or way on the outside. You want them right in the middle. So that's what I look for. The reason I got away from this is because I was constantly driving myself crazy checking it all the time. And the reason I went to that setup is because I was tired of checking on it all the time. So if the temperature went out, I was worried about a light bulb bursting in the middle of the night or just fizzing out or something. So I didn't want an alarm to go off. Man, little weather, outside weather thing, perfect. So what I'm using is 125 watt heat lamp bulb, infrared heat lamp. There's nothing special about it, guys. $2 light bulb. Pretty simple. As for the heat lamp fixture itself, just a tin old lamp. You know what? I just noticed I had to buy a new one because my old ones were having issues and I didn't want to mess with them, so I just bought a new one. They're fairly cheap, it's like $7. But the thing you want to look for is if you go to the hardware store and if you're in the wrong section, if you're buying the wrong thing, you're going to find these style type of lamps, and they use them for spotlights or, you know, work lights. And they're really similar to what these look like. What you have to watch for is this. See this? That's porcelain. Porcelain insulated. You got to watch that because a lot of them, they're plastic. And if you get that heat lamp inside this, thing, that heat lamp, and if this is plastic, man, it's going to melt. It's going to cause a fire. This is the most important thing about heat lamps right here. You know, I didn't get the cage. I messed up, didn't pay attention, didn't get the cage. But I have them up somewhere else. I'll get the cage somewhere else. But this right here, make sure it's porcelain, guys, because if you don't, you're going to have a fire and it's going to be a bad day. So please get the porcelain ones. There's one thing I want to touch on, guys. These are chickens that I bought from a box store. We'll just say, I'll tell you what store it is, Bomb Guards. They do really good. I've never had a problem with them. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but what I want to say is there's nothing wrong with buying chickens from a box store like that. My theory on doing this and the way I do it is I've gone both ways. I've gone to the box stores, and I've also gone through the hatcheries to get chickens. And here's my theory. I don't like losing money, and I don't like chickens dying on me. And what the big box store or the box store offers me is the chicken has already gone through that phase while it's waiting in the store to be purchased to whether it's going to die or not. Now that can happen when you bring it home also as well. So, but there's also like a 3-day policy where you can return and get a new chick. With the hatchery and the mail process, that's really stressful on a chicken. And, you know, either they'll show up dead and they'll replace them, or 3 days down the line they'll die. But I don't want to go through the die-off. I'd rather let the store deal with the heartache and the mess that deals with chickens dying off, and then I'll just deal with, you know, buying them through the store. It doesn't cost that much extra, if not at all. Now, the advantage to buy them through a hatchery, I buy my meat birds through a hatchery because I buy like 50 at a time. So the more you buy, the cheaper they are. And if you got a couple that die off, you know, they're not big numbers. You know, I think out of 50 I raised last year, I think I had 6 die off. Now, that's not bad at all, really. But I just want to let you guys know that that's why I buy from the box store when I'm doing laying hens or anything like that, and not get them through the mail. The other thing I want to cover is, guys, this is super simple. Don't overthink it. And the reason I say that is because when I first started out with laying hens and my first set of chickens, man, I drove myself nuts. I was on my phone, I was on the internet, I was searching things. What's the temp? Is the temp okay? Are these pine shavings good enough? I was all over the place. It's super simple, guys. I will tell you that if you just keep the temperature right, keep the bedding clean, and make sure you're feeding them and watering them like you should, you'll be fine. You can't screw it up. But you have to be willing to realize that you may lose 1 or 2. But, you know, those things happen, and that's just the way it is sometimes. The other thing is I run a medicated feed. So the reason I use a medicated feed is because we're starting out brand new chicks. I want them to have the best chance possible, you know, as much as I can give them. So I run a medicated feed. I'm only running it for, you know, a couple weeks, and then I'll put them on regular feed, but always the chick starter feed medicated. A lot of people may not agree with that, or they might go a different route with organics and stuff, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just telling you what I do. I really don't see a difference in after a month or so going to something different, but those first couple weeks are vital, so I want them medicated, and I don't really worry about what's in the medicated feed as far as coming to my family, because they're way off of it by the time they start producing eggs and anything like that. And you know what? We're not eating the laying hens, so that's what I do. So guys, another thing I want to go over is your brooder. So when you get everything set up and you guys get home and you set your brooder up and you got your wood chips out and you got everything all ready to go, right? And you plug the heat lamp on and you get your chickens and you're excited to let them out of the box, and you start dumping them in the box, or you start dumping them in the brooder. You gotta wait. You gotta heat this brooder up. You gotta make sure this is nice and toasty for them for when they get home. So you don't want to introduce them to a cold brooder is what I'm saying. So make sure this thing gets warm. Get it up to temp. Doesn't have to be like super hot or anything like that. Just make sure it's not cold for them, because you don't want to shock them when they come out that box. The chicks I bought today, I have them sitting in the house, and they're right next to a heater, staying nice and toasty, keeping them calm. So right now it's probably about low 40s. So I don't want to bring them to a cold brooder. I don't want to bring them. So right now I don't want to bring them to a cold brooder. Man, it's just been a long day, guys. Like, seriously, I just got off work and I'm trying to set this all up. So so this is what inside the brooder looks like, guys. And as you can see, this is what I'm using for feeders. Now, I just put a piece of cardboard, like you can see. It's just a piece of cardboard out of a water container. And, you know, I'll graduate to the screen system when they get bigger. So when they're pecking the food, it falls down below and doesn't make a big mess. But right now, the reason I put the cardboard because I don't want wood chips in the water. So guys, another thing I wanted to go over is the fact that I'm doing this in my garage. Now, if you're the type of people who can do this inside your house, more power to you. It's a lot easier for you to do them inside your house. That's an X-nay with the misses, so we do them in the garage. So when you do them in the garage, I'm in the Zone 5 area. I'm in Nebraska. And right now, it's probably between 50 and 45 degrees outside. I have the garage door open. I have windows. Sorry for the mess. Garage is a little mess. I got to do some spring cleaning. But I've got windows and I've got a garage door. Now, what you want to do when you're doing them in the garage is you want to make sure you keep this garage door closed. And if you got leaky windows, don't put them by the windows, because that's one thing that chicks do not like is they don't like drafts. And they don't like things hitting the window or tapping, creating any kind of ruckus. They don't put them by the garage door unless your garage door is super sealed tight. Myself, I put them on the interior wall of the house right here because that's going to be the warmest part of the garage. Last year, I did them over there in the corner. I didn't have a problem, but you know, I just didn't think it was the best place in the house for them. So right now, I'm doing them on the exterior wall, kind of halfway between the garage. So key points when you're doing chickens outside is keep them away from drafts and keep them away from anything that can make noise or tinkle back and forth like branches on a window or anything like that. So the chickens that we got are Americana, Easthager, Buff Orpington, a Salmon, Sapphire Jim, and we got one Polish. But these are some happy chicks. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys is on this light right over here, that wing nut actually comes out, and this whole thing can be adjusted up and down. And it can actually go up pretty high. So I thought that was pretty cool too. Right now I got it on the lowest setting because it's pretty cold in the garage, but these guys are nice and toasty. So guys, I hope that simplifies things for you. And I hope I answered all your questions. I didn't really want to go in too detail like a lot of videos because what I found when I watched those videos when I first did chickens is they gave me too much information. And believe it or not, if there's too much information, there's a lot of questions that go with information like that. And it was kind of like an open-ended book. So the key points I want to go over is, you know, make sure you get your temperature right. Make sure you got the heat lamps in the correct heat lamp fixture. Don't overthink the brooder. Don't get too caught up in what you're using in the brooder and everything. Even if you had to use a tub or a box of some sort, you know what? That's perfectly fine because you've got a couple weeks before they get big enough and they have to graduate to something bigger. So, you know, the main thing is, guys, don't overthink it. Don't stress yourself out about it. It's a fun experience. Enjoy it. You know, by all means, find out as much as you can. I mean, really engulf yourself in it because, guys, it's fun. And the kids love it, and your whole family will get into it. And if I can get my wife on video saying that she likes chickens now, I'll be shocked because when I talked about getting chickens, she was like, nope, don't like chickens. Hate birds, yuck, nope, don't want nothing to do with them. I brought those chicks home, and you should have seen her wanting to pick them up and hold them. And I swear, she was out here as much as I was, so that says anything. So, but yeah, guys, don't overthink it. If you guys got questions, please leave them in the comments. And be sure to like, because if you like the video, it gets it out there. If you don't, if you don't hit that like button, nobody gets to see the video. YouTube won't put it out there. So And if you're not subscribed, be sure you subscribe, because one things I notice on my analytics is I get a lot of people that watch my videos, and believe it or not, you know, they watch them through, but they don't subscribe. And, you know, that's fine. If they're just information getters, there's nothing wrong with that. We're all guilty of it. But be sure to like and subscribe. So, see you guys later. I get it on video. You like what?
My chicken.
You like your chickens.
I like my chicken.